Ready? All right, good. All right, guys. Hey, I just want to do a sound check, too. This is Bob Gregler with AFC First. Just want to make sure everyone can still hear me if someone can type in. Julie, looks like you did last time, or Conrad, if you don't mind typing. Just want to double check. All right, perfect. Good. All right, as I said, I'm Bob Gregler with AFC First. I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of things today, and feel free to ask questions during the session. Make this pretty informal. There's a couple of you guys on. I'm going to talk about the Illinois energy financing program that we have with ComEd, Peoples, and North Shore, and also our energy loan program that, as an approved contractor with us, you can use as well. Both programs to help you sell to your customers. And again, any questions, feel free to just ask as I'm going along here, and I'll answer them as we go. So a little bit about AFC First. Who are we? Why are we in Pennsylvania and out here? So we're based in Allentown, which is between Philadelphia and New York City. Been around since 1947, but what we do for about the past 15 years, I guess since it's been about 99, all we do is energy lending efficiency loans. We don't do any personal loans, no car loans, no mortgages, anything like that. So we are entirely in this industry that you're in. Our underwriters know the terminology, the terms, and I think that's something that you guys find very helpful when you work with us. A couple of other things. We're one of 3 Fannie Mae approved lenders in the country. We've got about 4,000 approved contractors throughout the country, with some of them concentrated in certain states, and in a slide or two, I'll show you what states we have some of our main programs in. A couple of other things we're doing. We've got a green energy credit union on the way. Something else that is pretty cool that we're developing, we actually have a physical location for BPI training and other certifications. We call it our Green Energy Training Center, and we're actually going to be doing stuff online with that. Obviously you guys out here physically aren't going to be visiting us, although you're more than welcome to. But we'll be able to do stuff online, and as we develop that and get more information on that, we'll send it out to you. As I said, our programs, we have our energy loan in all 50 states. That's nationwide, and then we have special state and regional programs as well. Pennsylvania, we've got a program. We do a lot in Pennsylvania, our home state, obviously. Delaware, Maine, Illinois listed there. Kentucky, we do a little bit. Greater Cincinnati, and Connecticut. It's not listed here, but we're starting a new solar lease program there. We did one a couple of years ago, and then another loan program is there as well. I have no idea why we put all this detail on this slide, but if you want to take a look at it, what's offered in other states, I doubt any of you go there and do work, but you're approved with us. You can if you want to. Okay, about the program that we have here with ComEd, Peoples, and North Shore. Both these programs you can use on the left and the right. The one on the left is obviously the better program. It's our on-bill financing program. That's 4.99% with all the utilities. And we can do loan amounts from $500 to $20,000 on that. A couple of details about the program. All of our programs, there's no cost to you. To sign up with us, there's no cost. There's no cost to use the program. I know a couple of 0% financing programs, that'll cost you 5 to 12, 15%, whatever kind of deal you have with a GE or Wells Fargo. No cost to you for us. The eligibility requirements are pretty simple for this program. For Peoples and North Shore, it is gas furnaces 92% AFUE and above. That's the only thing that will qualify. It's got to be gas, which is primary out here. I learned when I first came out. We have a lot of oil in Pennsylvania. But no boilers, and it's got to be 92% gas or above, Peoples and North Shore. No NICOR on that. A little bit more pertinent for the weather, air conditioning season with ComEd. We've got a program as well. That's 4.99%. You've got to get a air conditioning. The qualifying SEER is 14.5 SEER or above. As you'll see there, it says in combination with the qualifying furnace, you've got to get the furnace as well. So it's got to be the air conditioner and the furnace. Can't just do the air conditioner separately. Now, in anticipation of some questions, you can do that in NICOR territory. The way we're doing it is As long as they get the qualifying furnace, they don't have to finance that. But in NICOR territory, what ComEd is letting us do, and they're advocating it, as long as you have something in writing, you're able to put the furnace on the air conditioning part of the bill. We call it creative marketing, call it whatever you want. So in other words, in NICOR, what you would do is you'd advertise, buy a air conditioner at such and such price, get a gas furnace for free, or $200 or $500, maybe whatever the rebate is too, so you can pay that off. And I can talk more about that. You may have some more questions on that. I don't know how well I'm describing it, but in NICOR territory, we can put the furnace on the ComEd portion of the bill as long as you have something in writing, whether it be on your website, a brochure, a handout, a billboard, something you have in your office. ComEd will accept that. They just want something in writing. So the NICOR program, it says currently being finalized. We are working on that. Don't know how long it'll be. I should mention in the People's North Shore territory, you also have to get the, if you get the air conditioner, you have to get the furnace. But there, it's obviously easier because you can put, you can split it. You can put the, half or whatever it is on the ComEd and then half on the People's or North Shore as well. They're both $4.99. It's a little bit more, like I said. Got to get into the creative marketing thing. For the NICOR territory. Without any of you do anything in Ameren, we do have a program there. Our energy loan program, I'll probably talk a little bit more about that. I think that comes up. But that is for any improvement, any efficiency, any utility. The rate there is $14.9. I think that's dropped since it's like $12.9, $13.9 unless you opt to buy it down. There's no cost unless you opt to buy it down. Probably the most popular buy downs are the 6-month and 12-month, same as cash. And I think I have a slide on that, but it's for the 6-month, it's 3% of the cost plus $75. For the 12-month, it's 6% plus $75. Again, unless you buy it down, there's no cost to you. And again, that's all makes and models, all utilities, all efficiencies, all fuels, pretty much all improvements. Again, obviously the rate's not nearly as good as the on-bill financing program. That's the one we're trying to push. That's the better efficiency. I look at the energy loan as a backup program that you guys can use if for some reason you can't install a 92% gas furnace, or if you try and someone doesn't want it. This is at least another option that you have. Both of our programs are up to 10 years. There's no collateral. They're unsecured loans. You can pay them both off early. The one on the left, the on-bill program, you can't pay towards principal on that. If you can pay it off at any point. You can take it for 10 years and pay it off a month later, but you can't make extra payments towards principal to save on the interest. On the one on the energy loan, the non-bill one, the not on the bill, that one you pay us directly. You can prepay that. You can take 10 years and do it in 7, 6, 1, whatever you want to do there. Any questions so far? Okay, it doesn't look like any questions so far. Again, feel free to ask as I'm going. I know I'm going through this pretty quickly here. Our process here. I think it's a pretty simple process, pretty basic, probably what you're used to if you use other financing programs. The customer, first thing they can do is get the estimate with us. They don't even have to get an estimate first. I mean, if they know, you can tell them we're not instant approval. We're fast approval, but not instant. So if you tell the customer, if they know they want to do financing, even before you go out there and do an estimate, they can apply with us, and you can see if they get pre-approved or not, even before you go out there. But typically the way it works is the customer will get their estimate from you. There's a pretty easy one-page application. We do have a brochure we can give you, but we prefer that it be done over the phone or online. That's a lot faster. Takes about 10 minutes to do. Again, you can do it with them if you want, or they can do it separately. Pretty fast approval. I said we're not instant approval, but it's typically an hour turnaround time that you'll hear from us, that they may be, oftentimes it's not a yes or no, it's a maybe, or that they're pre-approved with us pending pay stubs, pending utility verification, etc. So we let you know they're approved or turned down, and from there what we do is you provide the, and I'll show you, there's a spec sheet for the job. You provide some information to us, a spec sheet that has some information on it about the product that you're installing, the air conditioner or the furnace, just to verify that it matches up with the proper minimum specifications. Then what we do from there is, after we make sure everything's okay, we get the paperwork out to you or the customer. I'd recommend the paperwork go to you. That way you have control over the process. You know, customers forget about it, or, you know, they go on vacation or don't sign something properly. Once you get used to the process, it's pretty easy to do. And that means quicker payment for you, because what we do need is, after the installation, we do need all the paperwork back. You can fax that to us, except for the note. That does need to be mailed back to us. You can get that back to us right away. But we do need all the paperwork back before we can pay you. And then we do a verbal audit as well. We talk to the customer one last time, or email them one last time, to make sure everything was done satisfactorily. You can tell the customer to call us if you want, to speed up payment. Once we get all that paperwork back and the verbal audit, we pay you that day, as long as it's before about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Eastern time, so 3 o'clock out here. As long as we have all the paperwork in, we'll pay you that day. What I'd recommend is we have a form that you can fill out where we can ACH it into your account. I recommend that, since we're based in Pennsylvania, and with mail, I mean, 3 days anymore is pretty lucky. We've gotten stories of how it's taken longer, and I certainly believe that. Any questions so far? Again, just feel free to. Okay, I see the question about Nicor gas now. Julie, did that answer your? Did I answer your question? You understand about the Nicor gas? I guess I'll keep going as you type. I can email you the direct, Kathleen, I can email you the direct deposit form. I think it's on our website. I think on energyloan.net. That's one of our websites. By the way, for the Illinois financing program, it's ilenergyloan.com. ilenergyloan.com. Oh, I see it down there. Okay, it's listed down there. And I'm not sure. I don't think that has our application on it, because for you guys to apply, it's free. Energyloan.net. If you're not approved with us and you see an application on there, it'll say $50. You can disregard that, but you can get the ACH form there. If not, my email address will be located on here. Feel free to email me or give me a call, and I can send it to you. Oh yeah, let me type my email in here. Okay, I typed my email on there. Feel free to email me about the ACH form, or if you have any other questions, or if you're not signed up with us, if you're not currently approved. Any questions, anything I can do to help you. Let me type my phone number in there as well. Okay, that's my cell phone number. Feel free to give me a call at any point on the cell. I travel a lot, a couple different states, different areas in different states, but I will get back to you on that. Phone or email. Email I check throughout the day. Both good ways to reach me about any questions, ACH, etc. Okay. These two forms are your friends here. You'll be getting used to them, or you already are if you use the program. The thing on the left is the spec sheet that you'll be filling out with every deal. Similar to it, the lower left you won't. That's the energy loan spec sheet. That's in case you use the energy loan program and buy it down. The spec sheet looks pretty much exactly the same, minus that part for the on-bill financing program. And the completion certificate on the right, that's exactly the same thing. That is what you have the customer sign when the work is complete. You can fax that to us, email and scan it, anything to speed it up. And once we get that back and all the paperwork, typically, obviously, the completion certificate is the last thing you send back. Once we get that will spur us. We will call the customer to do the verbal audit, like I was saying, or you can have your customer call us to speed things up. And you know what, I should type in, we have a new program manager. I don't know how many of you have used the program or are familiar with us, but we have a new program manager. Her name is Jen Allen. She does she'll do about 85–90% of the underwriting for this program. She's really good with paperwork questions. Frankly, I'm not overly good with the specifics on these, but I'm typing her address and her direct phone number, and her hours would be Central Time would be, let's see, she gets in, I think, would be 7:30 to 4, and then we have someone who works in the office, Amanda. She takes over until 5 or 5:30 Central Time. But let me give you Jen's information here as well. That's good to have. Let's see if I have it right here. Yes, that's it's Jen Allen, and again, she's the one who will be handling most of the paperwork and doing the underwriting for your customers. Okay, the energy loan program, I'm not going to go over details on this, but what you see on the right side, other than the loan amount, is the same for our ARM bill financing program as well. You can do 3, 5, or 10 years, no fees, no cost to you, new homeowners eligible, no lien. This is all of our loans are unsecured. For the energy loan, you can see we have, like I said, pretty much any improvement qualifies for that program. Where the on-bill, we do have the specific requirements for that. One thing that I think, I don't know, I'm assuming most of you use certain financing, GE, Wells Fargo, us, credit cards. One thing about our programs that I think are good is you can see a comparison. Credit card payments have one thing about credit card payments, and a lot of people get points on that. So a lot of people want to use credit cards. They can pay it off though with our loan if they want to. That's what we've had some people do. With they'll sign up with our loan and then put it on their credit card when they make their payments and get their points that way. But one thing nice about our loans for both the on-bill and the energy loan is that the rates are pretty low. So if you took a 10-year loan, we go by your monthly payment, whereas credit cards for the 0% credit cards, they'll go by 2 to 3% typically of the entire loan amount. So obviously the loan amount is going to be higher in the beginning, so your monthly payment is going to be higher earlier on. With us, if you take it out to 10 years, you can see the difference, and it actually does get pretty substantial. For $15,000, $20,000 jobs, even $10,000 jobs, you're paying $100, $100, $90 less a month for the first 12 months. I mean, I think that's one thing that's beneficial. I should mention here, I think 0% credit, we do very minimal 0% on our energy loan program. I should mention that for GE, Wells Fargo, if you guys have those programs, offer them. I mean, it's our competition, but, for you, the offer all the programs. You never know who's going to take what. Some people like 0% if they can pay it off in, 6 months or 12 months. That's great. If the cost isn't too much for you, I mean, if you can negotiate the cost with them, that's great. Offer that. But for the people who can't pay it off, I mean, I think that's where our program really comes in for the fixed monthly payment. That's something we advocate, using all of your programs. I mean, talk about credit cards, see what kind of rates they have, see if they have any equity in their home, talk about our programs, mention, if you have 0%. Anything to help you guys. You need to differentiate yourselves, especially, I mean, I've been saying for years now, especially in this economy, I guess it's never fully recovered, but whatever you can do that the people you're competing against aren't doing, and offering as many financing options as you can, that certainly obviously really helps you guys, and we've seen it with contractors. So who qualifies for this? All homeowners who are making qualifying improvements to their home or vacation home, as long as they have, for the utility, for the on-bill program, they have to have their name on the utility bill. Good credit and their ability to repay are required. All income levels are eligible. We don't discriminate there as long as you have your credit score. What we look at for, in general, what we look at is a credit score minimum. We won't go below, for all of our programs, we won't go below a 640. Just to give you an idea, average credit score in America, I was told years ago, and it's still about the same, it's right around a 687. So we'll go to a 640 credit score. And the other thing we look at too, two other things that we really look at are a debt-to-income ratio, a debt-to-gross income ratio of 50% or below. So that is all the expenditures that show up on their credit report. Let's say that you're making $4,000 a month. We'll want to see less. That would be gross. We want to see less than $2,000 worth of expenditures on your credit report. So if you have a mortgage of, let's say $1,300 or $1,200, a couple credit card balances that add up, and a car loan, say $200 a month, if it comes out to $1,800 and then our loan on top of it, you're fine. We'll qualify it. So the 50% debt to income ratio is actually pretty generous. And again, we don't discriminate upon income. If you're making $10,000 a month and your debt is $7,000, even though you have $3 extra thousand, we're not going to do it because our experience has shown us that no matter how much income, if the debt's really high, you're typically going in trouble. The other thing we look at is no bankruptcy. No bankruptcies in the past 7 years. If it's been over 7 years, that's fine, but we want to see it discharged 7 years. So if you know someone's gone bankrupt, or if they say they've gone bankrupt within the past 7 years, you can save the time and not even apply there. Unfortunately, our underwriting guidelines don't allow us around that ever. And we realize there are some extreme or hard cases like medical bankruptcies. That's unfortunately just the way it is. Who we sell our loans to once no bankruptcies, period. Who can perform the work? You've got to be approved with us. If you haven't, I can send you the application on that. Again, there's an Illinois-specific application, no fee due, and we ask a little bit more questions than our basic one. And again, you can still participate in any special state, utility, or other programs that we administer here or elsewhere. I doubt any of you do work in Ameren territory, but if you do, you can go down there, do work down there. I can send you information on that as well. That program's actually a little bit more expansive, but I won't go into that since I doubt any of you do work down there. What we look for, if you haven't applied with us, we typically look for a minimum of 3 years in business, although that is, we can get around that. If you have experience in the industry, if you did, let's say, sales for another HVAC company for, 7 years or 10 years, put that on there, and we can make exceptions if you have good experience in the industry. Look for history of financial stability, and we're looking for a net worth of $50,000 or above, or again, other compensating factors we'll take a look at, including references, etc. We look at personal and credit histories. The credit histories, there is an area there for, and it does speed up the process. There's an area there for Social Security numbers. If sole proprietors and partnerships, we absolutely need the personal credit. If you're an LLC or if you're incorporated, etc., we don't need the personal credit. That speeds it up, though. Otherwise, we'll look at your references, which is fine. If you don't want to put your Social Security number, we'll look at other trade references as long as they're good. And overall, a good reputation of high level of service and workmanship. And we work with, we take complaints seriously, and we have terminated installers in the past if there has been an issue. Not a lot, but some. Our program partners keep us informed as well. If something goes on, on the rebates down in Ameren territory, I believe it was, we had a problem with the contractor who was, I don't know exactly what was going on, but kind of screwing up rebates and screwing customers over there. And as a result, Ameren let us know. They were fine with us on their financing side, but we took Ameren's complaint seriously and terminated them as a contractor. Okay, frequently asked questions. Can the contractor assist the homeowner to apply? Yes, you can. You can work with them if they want, if they feel comfortable giving you their private information. You can take it for them. You can help them with it. You don't have to. I'm guessing most of our contractors don't. It's a pretty easy application, but you can. How long does the initial approval take? Usually about an hour. If it's a really busy period when it's really hot or really cold, it's typically longer than that. If it's an emergency situation, let us know and we'll put it to the top. Obviously right now if someone's furnace is down and it's 90 degrees out, we don't take that as an emergency situation. Or if every single deal you do is an emergency situation, think our underwriters are going to catch on to that. But for serious situations, we will, expedite that. What is our approval rate? It's 70% for approved contractors. It's not quite that high for people just placing applications, but ones who come in through contractors, it's probably in the 65 to 70% range. Again, don't get discouraged. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a contractor get the first 1 or 2 turned down and then they stop. Pre-screening helps a lot as well. If you have an idea. I mean, most people I think are pretty honest about their credit. If they know it's bad, it's probably not even worth them applying, but if they know it's, if they say it's good, in general, they're usually being pretty honest about that. And so pre-screening helps a lot as well, and that'll save time. Credit standards, I think I went over. Nothing else to really say there. That is wrong where it says average credit score is around 720. That is not right. I didn't see that until now. It's a lot higher than the average credit score. Again, it's around 687, maybe even a hair lower now. How long is the credit approval good for? 60 days. So it's something that will approve them, and it'll be rejected in 60 days if the work's not done. Typically, those are proactive customers, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Typically in a situation now, I'd say, most don't wait 60 days. Most common term, homeowners choose 10 years, and that's what I'd sell too. I mean, when I'm going to talk about some sales tips a little bit later, but one thing is we say sell monthly payments, and it makes sense to sell the lowest monthly payment, which would be the 10-year term, especially since it's something, our energy loan, again, they can prepay on. The utility bill, it's such a low interest rate of 4.99 that it makes sense to take the 10-year term and to offer the 10-year term. If they want less, they can go with that, or again, they can pay it off early. The loan documents for all of our programs, you'll get used to these if you already haven't. It's a one-page note. That's the only thing that we need mailed back to us. A one-page completion certificate, which you saw a picture of, a Patriot Act notice that's required with the note. The original customer application, that is something that you don't have to keep, or they don't have to keep, or it doesn't have to be written. What we do is when all the information is filled in, we just print it out and have them sign it. And the auto pay form, that's optional. That's for the customer as well. For the on-bill program, obviously they're paying on their utility bill out here, so there's no form for that. That's our other programs. And then copies of applicant's license or photo ID. I don't know if we need that for the Illinois program. The energy loan program, we do. So I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, how are you guys paid? Important question here. Again, we can do the ACH payment and just email me on that, and I'll send you the information for that. Or we can send a check. Some contractors prefer a check. We can certainly do that. But again, we are in Pennsylvania. It will take at least 3 days to get here. None of our programs cost you unless you opt to buy down for the energy loan program. Can you collect money up front, or can you deposit any money, or can the homeowner put money down? Absolutely, yeah. We don't interfere with that at all. So you can collect money up front. You can take a down payment. If the job's $10,000 and the homeowner wants to put $5,000 down, they don't have to finance the whole thing. As long as the minimum's $500, we're fine with that, and we can work with that. It's up to the customer and you on those two options. The homeowner pay off their loan early, yes, on the energy loan and also on the Illinois program, but again, can't prepay towards principal on the Illinois, on our financing programs, the 499 on-bill programs out here. Non-owned homeowner co-signers permitted. No, you have to actually live in the home. Can't have mom or dad or grandma or someone else sign if she's not on the deed to the home or living in the home. What? Yep, right. As Ryan mentioned, for the on-bill program, you have to be on the utility bill as well. So that's something extra that we need for the utility program. We need to see that.
So Bob, if one person owns the home and the other person is on the utility bill, do both of them sign the application then? In their wife situation or whatever?
Yeah, in a situation like that, we typically, it's kind of, that's a good question. No, I don't think. As long as one's on, we don't need to put both of them. We can go, let's say both of them are on the utility bill. We don't need to use both. We can go with one or the other, or both. But let's say the husband owns the home and the wife's the only one on the utility bill. We're going to have to go with her as long as she's in the home. We have to go with someone who shows on the utility bill. Now, I think most have both on there. That's the situation. You can actually have change as well. Let's say someone has bad credit and they're the only one on the utility bill. You can get the husband or wife, the one with the good credit, put on the utility bill, and we can go through that way. But we have to go with the person on the utility bill. We're not so strict about being on the deed to the home as long as they live in the home, and we have proof of that, which is obviously the utility bill. If that comes, we're fine with that. So if I didn't make that clear, feel free to ask a further question on that, and I'll try to clarify that a little bit better. What happens if the homeowner stops paying AFC first? Nothing happens to you. We don't go back to you and say, hey, bad customer, we're not doing more loans with you, and we need to get our money back. We obviously don't do that. We've actually had people default on first payments already, and that's nothing to you. That's on us. How does the homeowner pay AFC first? They don't for the on-bill program, and for the energy loan program. Again, they can do the auto pay or mail it into us. But again, the on-bill programs, that's another thing that's nice about the on-bill program. Not only the rates, but it's right on the utility bill. They can pay right there. Program delivery. Again, we accept applications on our website, which is ilenergyloan.com or energyloan.net for either of those programs, or our toll-free number. You can apply on there. One thing that we can do is, and you can email me for this or give me a call on this. I'll email you your specific link, and you can put that on your website. I highly recommend that. One thing that that way it's nice. The customers are right on your website. They can apply there. The other thing, you will be listed on our Illinois Energy Loan website as well, but someone will type in their zip code to take a look, for you, and they'll find maybe 3 or 4 other contractors within a 5-10 mile radius, and then they might start thinking, maybe I should have them come over as well. We're on their website. They go directly there. It'll apply. It will come with your name up there. All right, so that is part 1, which is kind of the.
Ask a question about what
Sure.
if a homeowner sells their home when they have on-bill financing?
Right. Ryan asked a question. It's a good question. What if someone sells their home? If they have the on-bill financing, they must pay it off at that time that they move. How they do that, whether they build it into the cost of selling the home or however they want to pay it off, but they must pay it off for the on-bill financing. Energy loan, they don't. They can carry that with them, but for the on-bill program, they've got to pay that off if they move. That is pretty much the nuts and bolts of the program. Again, if there are any questions, feel free to type away in case I missed anything or something wasn't clear. Other than that, what I'm going to do is for the rest of the session here, I'll go over some financing tips broken down here to something for you guys to help you sell. It's an interesting, the industry that we're in and the products that you guys are selling, called the perfect storm of the energy crisis and the credit contraction. And my boss calls it the twilight zone of financing, because we're in an interesting area here. Most of our improvements that you guys do in this industry are financed. A good number are financed, and the zone that we're in is kind of weird, because I'd say most improvements are probably in the $3,000 to $7,000 to $8,000 range, some a little bit less, some a little bit more. The improvements are low enough that oftentimes the customer doesn't want to take out a home equity loan for it, go through the trouble or the hassle, or simply they don't have equity to take out a home equity loan, so it's too low, the prices are too low for that, but they're too high for just putting on a credit card with rates that are 16, 9, 20 point whatever percent, 18%. Why would you do that when you can get the on-bill for 4.99%? So it's an interesting industry we're in here as far as the actual zone as far as prices. There are 2 types of customers. There are the reactive customers and the proactive. Reactive is probably about, as it's mentioned here, about 90% of the energy efficient market. In other words, those are the types of customers that don't think about energy efficiency unless something breaks. The furnace breaks or the air conditioner breaks. They react to it, and that's how they do their improvement. But there are proactive customers out there as well, and that market is actually growing. And that's something that you can't ignore. You've got to take into account that market as well. That's about 10%. People who are proactively out there searching for programs to make improvements to their home. As I said, successful installers address both these, the reactive and the proactive customer. You've got to take a look at both, to be entirely successful in this industry. Energy efficient improvements are most often sold, not bought. What I mean by that is you've got the bells and whistles of what you're selling. Customers aren't out there, necessarily most of these improvements, more on the reactive side, aren't looking to actually buy. You need to do a good job of selling your product, selling your company, selling finance. They're sold by their trust to you guys. One thing that we're trying to do, that we try to emphasize, and sometimes we as a company aren't overly successful with our programs, but you have to do your best on, is to keep it simple for the contractor and the consumer. I can't emphasize that enough. And as I'll get into, homeowners often buy on the personality of the salesperson, not the product. Most people aren't technologically aware or know of energy. When you're talking AFUE or SEERs, they don't know what those mean. They don't know one product from another. There are people out there who are, very sitting next to an engineer who are very numbers oriented that way, but a good number or not. So, that is where you have to come in. You have to come across as personable, as good reputation, with finance options, and also your product as well and your company. But again, keep it simple. The numbers do not add up. No, they don't. I'd imagine these numbers maybe are a little bit different now, but pretty similar. Okay, so $3,000 to $7,000 is the amount of disposable cash available to the average American homeowner. $8,200 is the amount of the current debt owned by the same average American homeowner. As you can see, the numbers do not add up. What is the average price of your installation? So how are people going to pay for this? That's the question. The result, as you can see, I think that guy looks like Rodney Dangerfield there with his eyes bugging out. And again, I'm sure you've seen reactions like that before. If you actually think about it, home energy efficient improvements are some of the biggest expenses that people will make throughout their lifetime, next to their mortgage, next to their car, maybe next to their children's college expenses. These are, fourth or fifth on the list, maybe third on the list as far as biggest improvements that they'll make. So the prices are not small. So that's the reaction you often get, and you have to soften that up, and that's what I'm starting to try to talk to you about and give you some tips on how to do that. Again, customers may have some interest in more efficient systems, the 92% or 95% or even 97%, but they may be put off by the higher price. Again, that's where selling monthly payments really comes into it, or saying, okay, or someone wants to go with an 80% efficient furnace, but okay, that's on you guys to say, look, the money you're going to save, and with the financing program we have available to you, the on-bill program, it's actually going to be cheaper over the long run to put in this 92% gas furnace and with the rebate, it's going to be cheaper to do all of that to get the 92% gas furnace than it actually is with the 80% gas furnace. And that's on you guys to do. Again, if you want to differentiate yourself from the competition, that's smart. Show the savings, not only with the financing program or the rebate, but also the efficiency, how much you're going to save over a 5-year period, 10-year period, a 15-year period with what you're installing. If you're, I don't know what your closing ratio is, but if it's 40%, what's happening to the other 60%? Why aren't they buying? And that's something that you need to find out. Why? I hope you guys, if you're not happy with your closing ratio, I hope you guys are thinking about why aren't the other 60% are they buying? Is it your reputation? Do you not have a good reputation? I'm assuming most on this call do have a good reputation. But you never know. One perceived bad job, can get word out there. Check that out. Is it a salesperson you have? Those are all things you have to look at. Is it the price? Is your equipment a lot higher in price? Are you not doing financing? Are they scared of gimmick financing? By that, the 0%. Again, we talked about how 0% is good for some people if they can pay it off in a year. But if that's the only thing you're offering and people can't pay it off in a year, Those aren't necessarily good programs to offer all of those. And again, are they not be given an affordable monthly payment option, which is where we come in. There are a lot of different things you have to look at, and of course I'm talking to you about the monthly payment options. That'll help you guys. Benefits to the homeowner about our programs. With the 4.99 interest rate, that's pretty good. It doesn't tie up resources. Even if they have the money to pay it off at 4.99, they may want to keep that money in the bank or their mutual funds. I don't know. A while back, the yield was higher than 4.99, but it's still a really good rate. And some people want to keep up their money for other things. Low monthly payment. Again, the return on the investment, it's not just a purchase for today. It's the fuel savings, and the utilities also help pay for the installation. And of course, the one thing I didn't talk about was the improved comfort as well. That's a big thing. If something's not heating or cooling properly, besides the price, besides the efficiency, that's what people look at, is obviously the comfort of their home. Benefits to you guys. Close more deals, obviously. I don't know a single contractor who went from not using financing to using financing whose closing percentage went down. They've all gone up, and I think they go up at the rate depending how successful you are at selling it. Again, remember, your competition is using financing. The more options you use, again, I can't emphasize enough, use us. Use the on-bill financing program. Use, if you have GE, Wells Fargo, use that as an option too. Talk to the customers about how they're going to pay for it. I mean, you have to be, I know it may not be the most comfortable conversation, but it's something you have to be upfront about, and I think customers do appreciate that. There's a way to be upfront without being overly nosy. You can do it very tactfully to see how the customer is going to pay. You don't have to get in deep conversations about finances, but it's something that I think customers do appreciate, a frank conversation about how they're going to pay. One thing to keep in mind, we see this over and over again. Some contractors say, well, my customer never asked about financing. Some people are afraid, are embarrassed or afraid to bring it up. It's something you have to bring up. I can't tell you how many times over the years customers that we've had that told us that they haven't gone, that they've gone with such and such a company because they actually offered financing. And for us, it may seem, well, why didn't they bring it up? Some people just don't bring up financing. That's the way it is. But again, emphasize that one thing you can do is you can bundle accessories. On the on-bill program, as long as you have, the 92% gas furnace or the air conditioner, you can put thermostats, humidifiers, air cleaners. That's an extra way. When you're on, over a 10-year term with thermostats, humidifiers, those sorts of things, your monthly payment's only going up $1 or $2 over the cost of 10 years. As opposed to a couple $100 if they're paying with cash. I mean, an extra $1 or $2 over 10 years looks a lot better than, okay, you just increase the price $400, $600, $800. Financing your average sale price will increase. It's a good way to upsell there. The other two things I don't really go, I won't go over. Again, I think I broke out this a little bit earlier, but again, which is the better deal? The cash, okay, your job costs you $5,000, here, give me $5,000, or it costs you 80 months. I mean, if you think about it, I have my cell phone sitting next to me here, and now the company pays for it, but I think most people's cell phones are over $100 a month. I mean, think about that, and if you've had your cell phone, I know I've had my personal cell phone over 10 years and what I'm paying on it. I've actually paid more on my cell phone over the past 10 years than people will be paying on their furnaces. I mean, it's kind of amazing. It's amazing when you think about it. That as Ryan says, it's depressing. I'm sitting next to his cell phone here, 2 inches by 4 inches or whatever it is, and that thing costs more than my furnace or air conditioner. So when you think of it in those terms, people want to hear the monthly payments. It's a lot, when you say, hey, it's cheaper than your cell phone bill, this thing that we're installing here. I mean, that's one way to put it. And again, credit cards, what I talked about with credit cards, their minimum monthly payments are often a certain percentage of the balance. So it's either, 3 point, a lot of times they're 2.99% or 3.99%. They're higher now. Where you have to make minimum monthly payments on that, so they're higher than if you take a 10-year term on a loan. And again, it's another option, but a lot of people don't like that option. okay, again, what I just said, what do you think sounds better? This system's going to cost you $5,000, or for just $81 a month. Again, it's all about perception and how you present it. I mean, people are going to know the total cost, but when you break it down for them into simple terms, then to put it in terms like this, hey, this is going to be cheaper than your cell phone bill. You know, look at it that way. You know, people don't buy cell phones for $5,000. A lot of people don't. You know, same thing. And I think the next slides show some examples on that. I'll skip right to that. You know, financing is really out there. I mean, there are so many different industries that take advantage of it, and I think ours is really catching on. But one thing that you see quite, I mean, cars. I mean, how many times you see for $199 a month or $299 a month? You know, for the first, you know, how many every years? Car salesmen are great at it. They really break that down. One thing that you see too, oftentimes, I think we had an example of it, is you know, like weight loss programs, or you know, total fitness. We have an example, total fitness for women for $1 a day. Or actually my boss, Ken Yeager, he always talks about this. He had laser surgery done in his eyes. What do you call that? Just laser? Yeah, LASIK. That's what it was. LASIK surgery done on his eyes, and his doctor actually offered financing. I mean, you don't think of, at least I don't. You don't really think of doctors or physicians offering it that much. Maybe I've been lucky enough to where I haven't had big surgeries, but he got his eyes done for, I forget what it was. It was like $3 a day or $2 a day, and you know, put in those terms, you know, it's like a no-brainer. Okay, getting my eyesight back, you know, for $2 a day, you know, or I think they even broke it down to eyeballs, like $1 an eye or $2 an eye or something like that a day or a week or whatever it was. But put in those terms, I mean, it really struck Ken how, wow, this doctor, you know, not only is he a good physician here, but he knows how to use financing, and that's why he had people lining up at the door. But again, like, you know, cars, Sears, you know, diet programs, you see it a lot more often, and that's something that we need to take advantage of in this industry, and we are. Okay, so which home would you offer financing to? One on the right or one on the left? The answer should be hopefully both. Shouldn't discriminate based upon a home. You never know who's going to want financing. Oftentimes, the people with the houses on the left, they have those houses because they have a lot of. They of course have a lot of money, but they probably also have a lot of debt as well. Some people with homes like that, you know, have more on credit cards and don't have as much disposable income as you might think. You can't discriminate, and then you go in the home on the right, and people will pay you with cash. They'll, you know, bring out cash from under their mattress. You never know. You don't discriminate just because you think someone has a good job or a nice home, or they're not going to want financing. You never know. Offer to everyone. Offer to all homes, all people, all jobs, and again, your rates are going to go up. I mean, we have, trust me, we just don't have blue-collar people financing at our place. We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have people who you may not think typically are people who finance. And a good number obviously don't, but there are also a good number who do. Don't lose a job because you discriminate. This a little Broadway thing here, something we talked about, something to help you guys. You have one chance to make a good first impression. Do it. Make a good first impression. Is your proposal something you're proud to leave behind? My boss Ken, who was in the industry, talks about how you know, one of his competitors are actually writing proposals on napkins. I mean, is your sales guy showing up, leaving I mean, even things of leaving a trail of mud in the home. Those things you have to, you know, that affects people. You know, people will not want to buy from you. You have to leave a good first impression. One thing that I can't emphasize enough, people buy from people they like. You may be selling the best product out there in the world, the most high efficiency equipment, and to a lot of people that means nothing because someone else is telling them, even though it may not be, your competitors may be selling products that you know, and people in the industry know are not as good. But a lot of people don't buy that way. A lot of people's brains aren't wired because how do they know what's the highest efficiency equipment? How do they know which equipment's best? That's the one way you differentiate yourself is with your sales guys. They buy from people they trust and they like. That's the way it is. If you build a good bond with people, they're going to like you or more disposed of buying your product. Again, differentiate yourself. If others are doing it, do something else. You need to, it's a competitive market out there. We're seeing people getting more quotes than they ever have been before. People aren't buying the same way they used to, so you can't sell the same way you used to. Sometimes you've got to get out of your comfort zone. One thing we talk about is eliminate the think it overs. Try to get a firm yes or no out of the customer. No's are actually fine. You want an answer, so you're not spending a lot of time on there. If you get a no, hey, at least you know. You get a lot of maybes, as you know, it takes up a lot of your time and resources. So, again, no more chasing, worth your time. Again, we talked about people, how they buy from other people, matching and mirroring. What that is, someone leans forward, you lean forward. Someone leans back, you lean back. That's actually a little pretty neat psychological trick that actually does work. The emotional purchase, again, people, I know with Ryan in the room, engineer types tend not to be like that. They like numbers, that sort of thing, but that's not how a lot of the world operates. They operate emotionally. Again, you can talk about your product, and not to say it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. But again, how are people going to differentiate your product from someone else coming in selling it, another product versus someone else coming in, they don't know. They can Google it all they want, but ultimately if they're not an expert in the industry, they're going to trust people who they find trustworthy. So that's important as well. Find their pain, what they need. You've got to be diagnosing their problem as well. What's making them uncomfortable? A couple more sales tips. Referrals are awesome, obviously. Don't forget it. Referrals are very important. I'm assuming most of you take that into account. Qualify hard, close soft. What we mean by qualify hard, I mean that not only for the product but for the financing. Get the information quickly. Be black and white with it. Don't be too aggressive, obviously. But again, we want a firm yes or a firm no. Not too much information. You can't. No such information overload is not a good thing. People will start thinking about it, not know what you're talking about. Be in there, be direct, and then close soft on that lower part. I won't talk about too much. And that I think that's my last slide. I think that wraps everything up. Again, there's my contact information. Ken is my boss at the top. If I said something that offended you or didn't like, you can contact him. But seriously, he's of help too. Diane in our office, the third, Diane Brandstetter, her email and her phone, if you're not approved with us, Diane is the one who will be setting you up. She's the one who will be reviewing your application. If you forgot to get something in, she'll be working with you. And from there, I come in. If you have any questions, if you need me to visit, I'm typically out in the Chicago area. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm in Illinois every month, typically the Chicago area every other month or 2 out of 3 months, and then I go to Ameren territory, more down the St. Louis way, every other month. If you ever want me to visit, let me know. I'll let you know my schedule and we'll work something out. If you want to do a webinar or even a phone conversation or email, I can't emphasize enough that if there are any questions, any way I can help you guys increase your sales, please don't hesitate to contact me. Doesn't look like there are any questions, so I thank you for your time, and I will turn this on over to Ryan again.
All right, thanks, Bob. If you guys do have questions, you can either type them in or you can email them to Bob or I, and we'll get them answered for you. We're getting you wrapped up here before 9 o'clock, because I know some of you guys want to get on the People's Gas and North Shore rebate webinar that starts at 9 o'clock. The residential one is at 9. The commercial one is at 9:30. If you do not have the information on that and want it, I can email it over to you right now so you can log in before 9. Just send me a note, and I'll be happy to do that. Does anybody have any further questions they want to type in or ask? I'm going to put my email up on the chat box too, so if you want to just click on it and send me an email, I can send you the links to those other webinars this morning. This webinar was also recorded, so if you have Salesforce, home consultants and technicians that need to see this kind of information, they can watch it at their leisure. So that'll be posted up on the website in the next hour or so. And if you have any other questions, just let us know. Thank you guys for your time.